very important to me. I always consider like time and space and numbers, science and mathematics, things like that.
Tengok ni Mira.
Okay, let me go to the idea that I'm doing now. This is just a rough, it's a panel for me to present to UiTM management as far as the beautification of UiTM project is concerned. I was called last year to participate in producing or in fabricating another sculpture for the roundabout at the Soroja, in front of the Soroja hostel, where I start to think about the element that I always use, the pattern, the light, the environment, the existing location, where as far as some of my idea I could embed. Of course, I will use some other symbol or metaphor towards the designing, towards the process of designing. So these are some of the keyword that I use. As you see, connectivity, globally, standard, outstanding, innovative. These are all things that I look up as far as UiTM corporate branding is concerned. So they always talk about dynamic involvement, excellent leadership, art and humanities, catalyst in community, symbolize in global knowledge. So I think these are keywords that I'm going to deal with when as far as designing is concerned. The campus was looking for high quality campus. So that's their mission that I have to entertain. These are drawing after drawing. I did a series of drawing, a series of simplification, and I come up with this form. It's going to be with a plant, as though it symbolized that UiTM have growth, has grown into a very successful educational institution. So as for plant, it is symbolized to have been growing into a big and excellent what you call form. So these are detailed drawing that I did. Still in the process of doing a lot of other details. Some of the artist impression that I did, looking at the sculpture from north, south, east, west. This is the artist impression that from the northwest, from the north side. Sorry, this is from the south side of the idea. Using stainless steel as the main material. I'm thinking of using another metal which is copper, but I'm still thinking about it. This is from the east side, because the location that they gave me is the roundabout, the new roundabout. So I think this is a very prominent and important space that the UiTM has created. Very important that I give a good impression. So I have worked out the detail now. Still having to build. As far as PKP is concerned, I'm going to start immediately after PKP. Budget is already allocated and the timeline is already over. So I'm I'm doing the detail now. Actually, I have to begin as far as May 2020. It's important. Okay, previous work, previous public sculpture. I have been working with UiTM for the last 30 years. This is my 30th year working for UiTM, teaching in the fine art department. So I was called in 2001 as far as UiTM was upgraded as a university in 1999. As far as this sculpture is concerned, it was built because of they want to give a name to the multi-story. We used to call the multi-story. And as for the new UiTM management, they want to name the building as our late Sultan of Selangor, which is Menara Sultan Abdul Aziz Shah, Aziz Shah, which is the multi-story. So in conjunction with that, they commissioned me to do this work called Movement in Stillness. 2001, out of stainless steel. The idea is looking at actually the rectangular twisted form is the symbol, is the representation of the building, and the organic form, which is spiral form, is this that portray the student and the incoming and outgoing student, and also the dynamism of the teaching staff, the academic, the knowledge transfer and learning, and so on. So this idea, it took me 2 months to build. So if you look at it, it is situated at the Tun Abdul Razak library, which is our main library of UiTM in Shah Alam. Okay. The next project is in UiTM, what I call motion in stillness. So after building the last piece in 2003, they called me to produce another work of sculpture to be put at Dataran Cendekia, which is an area of Hostel Melati and Mawar. So thinking of that, I come up with this idea, motion in stillness. This time I wanted to make the sculpture more dynamic. It is a physical movement that I want to produce. So if you look at the top part, which is stainless steel, the top part, it spins gently by the help of wind. So with natural wind, natural force of wind, it will move to a complete circle. It doesn't spin, but it moves. So out of stainless steel, and the big boulders is marble material. The height is 3.25 meter. It was complete in 2003 in conjunction with the Hari Quality of UiTM. So that celebrated.
Hah? Ada tu? Ada muka pula ni.
Next will be the most obvious right now. If you go to the Chancellery building, this is the sculpture that I have done with a group of lecturer and also student involved. In 2006, I was approached by the management of UiTM as far as the celebration of 50th of UiTM. So we were formed in 1967, and then 2007 was the celebration, and in 2006 they called me to design a piece for UiTM. So after a few meetings and proposal and design development, this is what we produce, including one monumental sculpture, which is in the form of meme, the Islamic calligraphy meme, where in the Romanesque alphabet will be M. So we managed to do, beside the monumental stainless steel sculpture, we carve 13 boulders accompanying at the complex of the Chancellery building. So it was done. It was officiated by the Yang di-Pertuan Agong, Raja Perlis at that time, our chancellor of UiTM in 2007. Okay. And other work that I have done, the most recent one 2 years ago in Langkawi. This is called the sign. They wanted to have another sculpture beside the halang, beside the big eagle. So I went there a few times to get some idea, and I come up with the idea to build a sundial, a working sundial. This is how it looks like when it was completed, out of stainless steel, granite, stone, which is local stone. I managed to get local stone from Tanjung Lembu in Langkawi. Right now, it is there at the height of 13.5 meters. So this is the most recent one. So the next one will be, this is how it looks like during the night with the lighting. Gerbang is an idea where I was approached by the agency of BRDB, Bukit Bandar Raya Sdn Bhd. Is a township agency that develop housing. So they call a few artists to build a public sculpture in their park. So they have a very small, interesting park. So I come up with this idea. I have a video for this. At the end of my presentation, I'm going to show you the video while we were installing the work. It is out of stainless steel too, 7 meter high, almost 21 feet. And it is situated at Taman Sari, Rawang. The idea is more on the, it comes from nature, the rainbow, and also at the same time, it is look like a gateway. So I think the client loves it because it is like a welcoming form to the taman, to the park. So I think I managed to sell the idea to them, and was completed in 2018. The next piece, as we go into history, 2017. This is a very interesting collaboration that I did with the company. BDB. This time is BDB. BDB stand for Bandar Darul Aman Berhad. Bandar Darul Aman Berhad is a company that facilitate the infrastructure building in Kedah State. So I managed to meet the CEO, which then commissioned me to do this work. So I started by asking, what material do you have? He said, we are in the industry, in the stone industry. We build roads and highway. So I said, do you have big boulders? Yes, you can come to our quarry and choose yourself. So I managed to choose these boulders, which is at 9 tons. The weight is 9 tons. Able to put it on a stick. And with some engineering input that I calibrate with the one engineer, I managed to put up this work at the height of 5 meters, which is situated at Bandar Darul Aman right now in Jitra, Kedah, out of stainless steel. The steel is made up of stainless steel. Okay, next will be most I think right now the tallest that I have ever built. 2010, just coming to January 2010, the Axiata management called me to discuss whether I can do a signboard. This is the story. They called me because of they want to do a signboard. Axiata, as you know, is a old Syarikat Telekom Malaysia. They go for a new name, rebranding their agency called Axiata. So I asked them, why do you call me? Because I'm not a designer for a signboard. I'm a sculptor. I can give you sculpture. So it was a discussion, and then they agreed to commission me to do a sculpture. So right now, this sculpture is already transferred to the Axiata Arena in Stadium Bukit Jalil. Stadium tertutup, the covered stadium in Bukit Jalil. Out of stainless steel and also polycarbonate. The colorful shape is polycarbonate that I use to combine with stainless steel tubing. It was a year project. It was a very quite some time in order to make it happen. Collaboration after collaboration. I have to calibrate with their engineer. I have to also engage and work with our president of structural engineer of Malaysia, which is Dr. Sui, and he is our staff of UiTM. So I'm very happy working with him. He was very calm in solving my problem. The other was the late Neo, my architect. So he was the one who really supported and giving me the motivation to build this big sculpture. So this sculpture, actually the height is 25 meter. It is about 83 feet high. So I think this is my tallest so far sculpture that I have built. So it is called Prism of Asiata. Next will be more pictures about Prism of Asiata. Okay, this is something down south in Johor Bahru. In 2004, I built this public sculpture called or titled Rise. It is stainless steel, out of stainless steel and marble, located at Johor Bahru city. I was called by one of the architect in down south. We did a few site visit and they appoint me, and this is what I designed for them. It is Islamic calligraphy that sit on a bearing. It can be it turn gently, very slow with the help of the wind. So natural wind. So right now it's already almost 16 years in existence. I have a few more. In 2002, this is a very interesting project. I was invited by the Vietnam Communist Party, ranging of few sculptors in the party communist, where they called me to participate in their symposium, in their stone symposium. So in 2002, I was there for 6 weeks. Beside a few foreigner, I think 16 countries participate, and 10 local sculptors also there. 16 countries, but some countries send more than one participant. So I think Australia sent 5, uh, Japan sent I think 3, 4 sculptor, and the rest is like one. Mexico, USA, Sweden, Finland, Germany, everyone have one participant. So I was there to design, to deal with this stone, and I end up making design of a sundial, a working sundial. This is my first working sundial, where you can see now the shadow, it is pointed to the marking there. It shows that this is 1:30 in Vietnam time. So the material is marble, white marble. They have a beautiful marble. Stood up 3.25 meters. It is situated in Hue, Vietnam. The title is Time and Direction. So I have a concept for this. If you are interested, I can go detail onto the concept of why time and direction, why time is very important, why the direction, what is the meaning of the direction, as opposed to Vietnam people. So they were in a shock where they open up their door as a communist country. They now want to participate in the rest of the world. So in terms of economy, they really become very successful as opposed to other Asian cities or country. That's what I observe. And they are now become the most financial, top financial country in Asia. We go on. This is quite some time, and we were as ITM, as a staff of ITM at that time in 1997 and 1996. I was called as early as 1996. I was called as I came back from Japan, winning the 1996 OITA Japan Grand Prize. So the government of Malaysia, through Ministry of Culture and Tourism, they called me to produce this work, to design a special work in conjunction with 40th anniversary of Merdeka. So in 1997, we celebrate our 40th year of Merdeka. The material is out of stainless steel and granite. The height is 5 meters. It is called Wahdah. Wahdah is in Arabic language, which is unity. So this is also, I have the concept, the idea, the story behind the work, which I share with some of my students at that time, assisting me for the project. This is, I mentioned just now, I just came back from Japan. This is the competition that I entered in 1995, as early as 1995. And in 1996, after going a few rounds of evaluation and process of competition, they choose this piece to be the winner. So I was granted an award for this in 1996. And this work is now situated at Fumio Asakura Museum in Oita, Japan. Out of patinated brass, this is the material, patinated brass, mild steel and marble. So as high as 6 meters. So right now, this work is already like more than 25 years. It's already 25 years ago. Next. I think this is the last, at least. Yeah. This is actually my first public sculpture outdoor. Of course, public sculpture is outdoor. So this is the first piece that I've been commissioned after a process of competition. It was a competition that I entered 1994. And when I was in, when it was in 1994, they contacted me asking me whether I'm going to do it or they're going to do it. They means the SEDC. This is in Sarawak. So the work called Celebration of Sarawak. At that time, in 1994, they just completed the Kuching waterfront. We call that waterfront project, where they need to scout around, putting some local sculpture. They have international artists that put their work there, but they were urged to find local sculptors. So by doing a competition, I came in with some other sculptor in Malaysia, and this was the design that they chose. So It is called Celebration of Sarawak. The concept is I uses images, form, motif, artifact that refer to their ethnic groups, several ethnic groups. By combining them, and I designed this four-legged monumental sculpture out of copper, brass, mild steel, and marble. So I think this is the last slide. Yeah, this is the last slide. I want to show you the. Can I show you the before we go to the Q&A? I'm going to show you the video of, of the project, one of the project that I have. This is Gambang. This is also a work commissioned. I went to the site in Gambang, and this is while I'm working in the studio. This is my workshop. We do the cutting, pressing, and some grinding work. I have 3 assistants with me. 3 of them are our ex-graduate. They support the construction. I also have to go and cut the metal outside. As far as constructing, we did it in my studio. This is how the studio looks like. We are doing a lot of welding and constructing. It is now installed. That's UiTM Solar Research Center in Gambang. I'm very proud to do this. Okay, this is first video. This is a second one. Sorry. This is the second video. Last but not least, this is the Rawang project at Taman Sari. The gateway. It was installed in 2018. Did all the construction in my studio, and we brought to the site and installed it. So did some finishing, and this is how it looks like. That's it. you very much. I think that's end of my whatever I have to present today. Thank you very much for your patientness. Okay, Rabia.
All right. Thank you, everyone. If is there any question from the participant for this afternoon? So maybe we just click the microphone on and should ask any question.
Yeah. Thank you. It takes some time.
Apologize for the technical issue.
Yeah. There's a lot. I saw some familiar names.
Okay, Prof. In the chat room, there is a question.
Okay.
If you from Marina Abdullah, she asking that what is the tips in terms of how you design, and then from after the design, then how you manage for the in terms of budgeting, so that it might be relevant to the project that's required by the the client.
What are the tips?
Mm.
It's always you have to do some homework. Checking on the first, what is the best idea to give to the client? That's what worries me a lot. I always put money, whatever other things aside first. But how to convince the client is the most important thing. Able to come out with magic. I call it a magic. This is very important. Well, you have to really do some imagination, reimagining fantasy towards your creation. Of course, this is a process of ideation that I always do with drawing. So you have to sketch and you have to draw. Beside looking at other idea. But once you are confirmed that you have a symbol, for example, or maybe the project need a metaphor or idea, so I have to quickly design and sometimes quickly make a 3D form. I always work successfully with scale model, and bringing the scale model and present it to the client is always a successful factor. That the most successful, rather than bringing them and showing them your drawing only. So I think what I discover is that do a 3D model at least near towards the material that you're going to use. I always use the same material as for my scale model for the actual one. Let's say stainless steel. I'm going to use stainless steel for the actual work. So I will use also stainless steel for my scale model. So this is one of my practice that I did as far as I learned when I was in school before, when I was in college before. Itulah. Then you move into budgeting. Budgeting is always like I know how to reduce because of experience. I know how to reduce because we have a lot of alternative when it comes to material and the construction method. So you have to have experience for that. But it's always a good collaboration effort, like working with engineer, working with structure engineer, working with architects, working with landscape architect. I always admire this collaborative activity. Beside the client, of course, client will say, will say and will point you an idea. But like I said, client is always right. So how to negotiate with them if you don't agree with them. This is another situation where I come across and I have to renegotiate my idea. Sometimes I'm on the winning side, sometimes I'm on the middle side. Always never give everything to the client. So this is about commission work. I'm talking about commission public sculpture work on project. Okay, does that answer the question?
I think you already answering the question.
Okay.
And then there is another question from Zulkifli Haji Ayub. The question is, people often talk about sustainable design in every aspect of life and design.
Well,
okay, my question is, how do you relate your work with the idea or the concept of sustainability?
that's a good question. Okay. In order to sustain your sculpture, first, I think the material. You have to think about the material. Right? Beside sustainless idea, sustainless maknanya sustainless idea is something that are evergreen idea. Right? It's always ahead with time. So I always wanted to design. I do not know whether I achieve or not, but looking at my work, I always want to design something ahead, something that are ahead than us. Beside that, I always think about the durability of the material. That's why throughout my practice, it's always marble, stone, stainless steel, copper, and I seldom use mild steel because mild steel rusts. So beside that, I have an ambition to use titanium. This is a dream. If I can use titanium, this will manifest the sustainability, the long life, whatever ages for the sculpture. Itulah. That's what I think I answer that.
Okay, next, Prof. From Dr. Rosli. He asking about what is your opinion about, the position of public sculpture in our country and compared to other developed country, and then what is your what is the significance of public sculpture in the context of Malay it's not Malay community, in our community, in our country.
What is the position?
What is the
position of public sculpture in Malaysia?
Mm-mm.
Our status is no here, no there. No here, no there. Sometimes we are very serious about. I saw a few people like leaders. Sometimes they feel like, oh, it's time to build sculpture for the public. But sometimes it just go off. I do not know, because we don't have the people who look after. I'm not pointing fingers, but at least a city, any major city, developed city, need to have committee that look after the art, whatever art development. Because art will focus on quality of culture, quality of life, quality, anything, of anything. It shows that you are a developed country, you are a developed cities when you have more art being put in the public places rather than we saw empty, empty spaces. They become discarded. They become something that are not been looked upon. Wasted area. There's a lot. If you go around, I show you example just now. As I went to the area of Shah Alam, I can see our beautiful lake, beautiful vegetation, but didn't enhance with beautiful art. And we are, it's like near to the corridor of the city. So I think I feel ashamed of that situation. That's why that is nothing been done so far in terms of beautification. But UiTM already took a few initiatives that they want to do that. They talk about, in fact, they put as an agenda of trying to develop a beautification of UiTM campus. So I think this is a good initiative, and we need to sustain that in order to see more public sculpture being built and also been curated ataupun been choose for the proper space. We have a lot of roundabout in Shah Alam, but none of the roundabout been capitalized to put public sculpture. As for their move or their idea to identify the space or the place, it's always like we are lost. People from outside will complain that they are at the roundabout. Which roundabout? What roundabout? So we have like we have plenty of roundabout in Shah Alam, but nothing has been identified. So I think public sculpture, public art can identify by putting something in that public place or public space.
Okay, Prof. There is another question here from Shahrin Saleh. His question is, how about maintenance of sculpture after you deliver the job?
Okay. It's always that in the contract. I always sign a contract. Every single project, I have to sign a contract. So the contract will say that you have to build and finish it. But beside that, you have to send your manual of maintenance. That was a contract. Manual of maintenance is an advice from me saying how to take care, how to clean, how to solve any problem that occur during, after the installation was done. So there must be an advice in the form of manual that I submitted to the client, and of course the client has to take care, and they have to have people around them to take care. I always worry about that because some of them are one-off. They just want to build and then nobody is maintaining it. So I make sure again and again, I try to advise them by giving them a few documents, and also sometimes I have to go back and check with my own initiative, because I always assume that that's my baby and they have to safeguard my baby, things like that. So far, things like in Vietnam, in Japan, Korea, Philippines, these are too far for me to go. But still, I sometimes have friends to give some report on the condition. So that's what I'm doing now. I think now it's already like some of them are at the age of 26. If it is in Sarawak, the work is already 26 years old. So recently I went there and I saw, and I have advised them to do something about the condition. Okay.
Okay, Prof, there is another question. Can you share with us how you manage and in terms of collaboration with engineer, in how you communicate with them, and because engineer usually they work with, I mean, logic or practical, but artist is always engaged with aesthetic.
Yeah, you're right. We know that engineer can give us confidence. They give us confidence. I always tap them because I want to feel confident with my work. As far as design is concerned, they sometimes want to advise, or they want to interrupt. That's the word, interrupt. Interrupt means in a good means, in a good sense. I always admire their foresighting the work. We could come out with good design, but we do not know the strength. We do not know the stability. We do not know the you know the form could break, could fall, could sunk into the ground. So these are things when I invite the engineer to give opinion and also support as their profession in terms of calculating some of the condition, like the footing. As always, I check the footing, and sometimes structure as high as 83 feet. How can you check that? We have engineer that check. Like I said just now, I have a fellow friend from engineering department. I found out that he is the president of structural engineer of Malaysia. And suddenly in front of my nose. So we worked together as I found him, and he gave a very good advice. So I think working with the engineer is not in the beginning, but at least at the end of it. So I think not a good idea to call them in the beginning, because they tend to overpower, over suggest sometimes. So do your own work first by designing and through ideation, and then do some homework that you can solve the problem first. Then only you call the engineer to calculate. Without that, I think maybe major alteration could happen. I hate to do major alteration once I have come up with my idea. That's a good practice lah, from artist or sculptor.
Okay. Prof,
Yeah.
there is a question. So do you, we have the way that you work is you are collaborating with engineer, collaborate with engineer, architect. So do you think in this phenomena should engage and embed in our curriculum, Prof? Especially in public. This question is from Diana Ibrahim.
I think collaboration is a new name. It's a new initiative, new method of working. You cannot work alone. So and we means the artists. We do not know everything. By doing collaborative work, we learn from each other. So I think it's a good to develop a subtopic for the sculpture that deal with construction, deal with outdoor, or as far as larger pieces that we want to build is concerned. So we need to, beside that, we're not only building big thing, but sometimes technological incline. Technological incline. Sometimes we want to use lights, for example, light. Like myself, use solar panel. So when come to solar panel, I do not know even a thing about solar panel. So by engaging them, we tend to learn from them. For the first time, we ask them to do it, but then we learn. We ask a lot of questions so that they are supporting our design, and at least we are not far behind of time. We do not want design that we produce is like not our time, it's that our grandfather time. So I think we have to be sensitive in terms of designing our form, our sculpture, our artwork, so that we are ahead of time. So by doing collaborative work with engineer, with technological people, like people from the renewable energy, something like that. Right now, very popular in terms of zero carbon. So talk to them. I always talk to them to get some idea how to get involved with this initiative that been encouraged by the whole world. Kan? So itulah, I think.
Prof, last question, but I think it's a suggestion from Zulkifli Haji Ayub. Prof, do you have a published compilation all of your works? It is always interesting for me to read and understand the thoughts and process, as well as the final product.
So far, that's a very good question. I actually, I have tons of story. I have tons of experience while making and doing public sculpture. The only weaknesses that I have is try to compile them in a book. Try to compile as a book. Try to compile as a reference. Okay? I know all the history, all the detail things. But so far, looking at my client, there are a few compilation. But from me, not yet. I'm in the middle of cataloging or compiling all the public sculpture work. In fact, the personal work also is included. So I actually have 2 books in the process of making, of doing it. So I think I don't have like a book. Like sometimes I have a catalog of solo exhibition. That's it. But the report for 30 years of making, constructing the public sculpture, I don't have any.
Okay, the last question, Prof. Referring to technology incline, how do you think of the 3D printing, which may change the way artists work to produce 3D arts with small-scale production, Prof?
I think all these technological things, I always see them as to fasten your process of making. Is to fasten. Dia boleh speed up process of making. Sometimes it takes years of doing something, but with the 3D printer, it will help you to to enhance. The other thing is that it can be repeatedly produced if you are using 3D printer, but at the level of maybe early stage of your design. You cannot use 3D printer for your public sculpture now. In fact, for your sculpture, you cannot. But you can use it as at the phase of early ideation process. Very fast result. It can speed up the result of your ideation process. It can also enhance. It can also do wonders sometimes. Do wonders in a small scale. So far, that's the capacity that I can look and the level of confidence that I can see from the 3D printer. Beside that, I maybe do not know what. I have a few students who are using 3D printer in their ideation process, which I think they have advantages compared to the non 3D printer. And so non-technology means late. You are late, you are slow in terms of producing your idea. So I hope we can engage more. We need support actually. The UiTM need to buy. UiTM Faculty of Art and Design need to have right now, good plotter, good 3D printer that serve and and enhance the students' ideation process. So benda tu tak ada, jadi it's a bit difficult lah for the student to move. Moreover, in the future, there will be a gap that we are a bit slow compared to, if we were to compare to the Korean, if we were to compare to the Japanese, they are far more ahead, especially the Chinese. We do not know what are they doing now. They are far ahead in terms of having the technological devices with us. So this is like a taboo here. We don't have that. So I think if you want to challenge your situation, you try buy one 3D printer, small, and start to work with 3D printer. You can see the wonders that they can provide to you. Okay.